Good day, everybody. Welcome to AIC Insights. AIC Insights is produced by the Northeast Ohio Ag Innovation Center at the Ohio State University. And today's session is titled Putting Your Business on Social Media. We'll be going through how to take advantage of social media to market and advertise your business. My name is Joseph Opoku Gapo. I'm communication specialist at the Northeast Ohio Ag Innovation Center. And well, the AIC, we provide support for producers of food, fiber, and fuel. Our services are free of charge. We provide support in terms of value addition. We provide support in terms of helping link producers to market. We provide technical assistance in varying areas to then help grow your business. The unique thing about our services are that our services are individually focused as far as our clients are concerned. We work one-on-one with our various clients. Our services are very confidential, and the services we provide are holistic. We don't just focus on a specific aspect of your business. Our team has expertise in varying areas, and they all bring their expertise to bear in terms of helping you grow your business and get better with your business activities. So the AIC Insights are a series of sessions we would be having with our audiences and you, our participants, that will then seek to then help provide specific insights and actionable recommendations on how you could all add value to your businesses, and will then provide specific resources that will then help you then add value to your businesses. And in the course of the different sessions, we would bring on additional experts who would provide guidance and provide real-world examples and practical insights and offer you sustainable tools to then help ensure that you add value to your farming business going forward. So that's what the AIC Insight is all about. And this is the very first session, which will then focus on how to then put your business out there on social media as a way to then help you expand on your operations. So the specific learning objectives for today's session, by the end of this session, we will then help ensure that as a participant, you understand the role of social media in modern agricultural marketing. We would also go through identifying the most suitable social media platform for your farm business. So let's begin with a very quick overview. First of all, the data from Meltwater and other platforms indicates that there are about 5.6 billion social media accounts all over the world. The data actually shows that on the average, individual social media users may be having as many as 6 different platforms, but then essentially there are up to 5.6 billion social media accounts out there. The data again shows that we have a situation where 93% plus of internet users are actually on one social media platform or the other. And one of the other revealing statistics has to do with the reality that when it comes to the time that individuals spend on social media on a weekly basis, up to 18 hours, 36 minutes is the average time that individuals are spending on social media. So yes, it's an indication that we're spending a lot of time on social media. And the main point here to drum home is the reality that so many people are on social media, and then it makes it a very good avenue for you to then market your business going forward. And so if you're not out there on social media, you are kind of missing out one way or the other. Because then again, the data shows that people aged 18 years and above, the indication is that more than 92% of them have one social media platform or the other. So yes, everyone is on social media. If I could use that extreme description of it, most people are on social media. So that's the place that it would be good to then have your business at in order to be able to then engage more customers going forward. So what's the role of social media when it comes to the agricultural marketing space? Social media can then help create situations of highly targeted reaches. So with social media, you'll be able to then be very specific on the kind of people you are targeting with your campaign or your advertising. You'd be able to then target people based on their age, their location, whether in the Northeast Ohio area or elsewhere. You'll be able to then target people based on their interests, their demographics, and even based on the kind of jobs that they do, so that you are not advertising or you are not putting your business out and not having a specific target in mind. In communication, we usually say that if you're talking to everybody, you're talking to nobody. But sometimes it's difficult to then identify the people you would want to talk to. But then social media helps to then do that. It's also a very cost-effective way of marketing your business. Traditional media can cost millions of USD when it comes to paying for airtime to then advertise your business. But then social media, a few dollars will be more than enough. And even some of the social media platforms, you could market your businesses there free of charge at no cost. So it's a very cost-effective way of marketing your business. It's a very good way of enhancing brand awareness. So it can help you boost visibility. It can help you gain recognition. It can help you ensure that your brand is very much on the minds of those that you do business with. Not only that, social media then allows you to then create diverse forms of materials when it comes to communicating with your possible audiences. So it allows you to then develop videos. You could then have photos to then tell your story. You could develop podcasts where you are telling your story with audio formats. And so then it allows you a wide area in terms of playing with the different kind of creatives that you'd want to use to then get your stuff out there. It also helps to then enhance customer engagement. So on social media, you could go ahead and set up polls and questions and answers. And when you share materials on social media, people can like or comment and kind of increase engagement around your brand and keep conversations going. And keeping conversations going is one of the best ways of bringing in business. So that's another role that social media plays in agricultural marketing. And then it then also provides an avenue for precise retargeting. For example, when you put an ad on TV, people watch and then they decide to whether consume the product or otherwise, and life goes on. You don't know the people who watched the ad that you put on TV, but then the story is the reverse with social media. People see your stuff, they like them, they comment. It then provides you an avenue to go back to these people and provide them with more targeted information or provide them with additional information. It provides the avenue for retargeting those who engage briefly with your content. And then it provides very huge competitive advantage. Everybody's on social media now. And so then when you are not there, you are kind of losing out. So getting your business on social media will then provide you a business person with the necessary competitive advantage going forward. Okay. So let's move on to this bit of our conversation on identifying suitable social media platforms for your businesses. So there are hundreds of social media platforms out there. On the average, my rule of thumb is having no more than 2 or 3 social media platforms so that you're able to then manage them appropriately, rather than spreading yourself thin and having presence on like 10 social media platforms and you're not able to then appropriately engage and produce enough content to then get out there. So how do you make decisions on which social media platforms are the best ones to then set up your presence on? The brief answer to that is look out for where your potential customers exist and set up your presence on those specific platforms. So you'd have to take a decision on whether your potential customers, majority of them on Facebook or X or Instagram or LinkedIn or Pinterest or any other platforms, all the hundreds of them, you'd have to take a decision on where you are likely to then find a good number of them and then set up presence on those platforms and aim to target them there with your messaging. But then the big question then becomes, how do you know where your potential customers are in order to set up presence on those social media platforms and be able to potentially engage them? Uh, we would want to share with you a tool that could then help you do that and ensure that appropriate targeting. Let me quickly get onto that. So this is a fact sheet that's been put out there by Pew Research. They occasionally update it with the latest information on what population of adults in the US are using which specific social media platforms. And this is the latest data from June 2025. And this is aggregated data. And it actually shows that YouTube is the most popular of all the social media platforms currently, with about 80% of US adults indicating that they use YouTube and they gain their information from that platform, with the next being Facebook, which then has a percentage of somewhere around 71% of US adults indicating that they do get on that platform to then get necessary information. Then the next one is Instagram. So 50% of all adults in the US indicate that they do get their information from the Instagram platform. And then the next is Pinterest. And then TikTok then comes in the 37%. But then this is aggregated data. So how do you then know that within your locality, within the audience that you are targeting, this is the platform that they are using more often? And I would have a QR code soon after this slide that you can then use to then access this particular fact sheet that I'm showing you, which the Pew Research Center updates on occasional basis. This is the portion that then has to do with age. So the first tab here then talks about age. The next one is gender, and then you see the rest following. But then when you look at young people between the ages of 18 and 29, more than 95% of them actually use YouTube, and then about 80% of them use Instagram. The data is a little different when you look at, let's say, those aged 65 and above, where then only about 64% of these individuals are indicating that they use YouTube. And then beyond the focus on age, let's say if you would want to see what the percentages look like when it comes to the household income of the people who are likely to then get your produce or your specific product more often. So this is the portion having to do with household income. For example, those who earn less than $30,000 a year, more than 77% of them say they use YouTube. But then those who are earning more than $100,000 a year, more than 89% of them say they use YouTube. When it comes to Facebook, the figures are just around the same. We see a lot of disparity as well when it comes to the use of Instagram, with those who earn less than $30,000, 42% of them saying they use Instagram, but then those earning more than $100,000, you have a situation where more than 60% of them say they use Instagram. So then this is the portion also having to do with household income. There's another tab here that then has to do with education. So whether the individual had only high school education or some college education or a college graduate, the kind of platforms that these individuals are also using to then gain information are broken down here. And then even when it comes to race and ethnicity, white, blacks, Hispanics, and Asians, all those different demographics and their preferred social media platforms are existent here. So when you are ready to then set up a social media platform or tool for your business, this is a tool that will then help you then ask yourself, who are likely to be my largest audiences as far as my business is concerned? Are they likely to be wealthy people? Are they likely to be middle income people? Are they likely to be young people below the age of 25? Are they likely to be older people? And then that will then help you make a decision on which platforms you will then use as far as your social media activities are concerned. And this bit on community then has to do with rural, urban, and suburban populations. So then you could then again use this platform to then see if your business is located in a rural area, an urban area, a suburban area, which of these platforms may be the best for you to then get your content out on in order to be able to then engage more of your likely audiences. This is where you should go and scan and visit the Pew Research platform and be able to then get a good sense of what the best platform will be, depending on whether you will be selling a lot of your products to young people or older people or rural folks or urban folks. These are some basic points on managing social media platforms. Before you go ahead and launch, have a content plan and have some content ready before you launch. The rule of thumb is have content at least 4 or 5 different content that you would be able to put out before then you go ahead and launch the platform, so that then you don't launch the platform and then lose steam and have a situation where there is nothing to then post in your platform. The other advice would be that make sure that your platform is active once you set it up. Make sure you are posting between 2 or 3 times every week. I know that may be time consuming, but then at least make sure you are posting once every week on your different social media platforms. And then be responding to comments as well as a way to then get people more engaged. When people send you messages, respond to those messages. When people like your content, go back and like something else on their own profiles as well, as a way to stay engaged and then to keep the conversation going. And encourage friends to follow. That will then help create more following, so that when people get on the page, they'll see that there's some activity happening and they'll be encouraged to then stay. So you can send us an email, neo-aic@osu.edu, with any questions you may have or any comments you may have. If you need a bit of support in helping navigate how to set up your social media platforms, feel free to reach out to us. We would be happy to then support your business to then have the necessary social media presence. And you can follow us at OSU Ag Innovation on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube, and see more of these updates going forward. Many thanks.